And welcome back, everybody, to the Podcaster Nation. That's right. I said welcome back because I know you were just listening to our stuff and you came back for more. And we have more for you. Why? Because this is the podcast that is about podcasters. It's for podcasters and it's done by podcasters. And you did it. You cracked the code. Our guest today is a podcaster. Man, way to go. You guys are too sharp. This is the place where the rising tide raises all ships, folks. This is a place where we come together and raise each other up, and we get to actually take the podcaster out of the host seat and put them over in the guest chair. So this is what we're doing today, and we have a fantastic guest for you. This lady and I are already laughing. I love her energy that she showed up with, and she made a point of telling me how big I am, which is just not something I get from everybody. So I'm kind of appreciative of that. Thank you for that. And we're going to rock and roll here. Please welcome to the podcast the host of the Between the Lines podcast, Corine La Font. Corine, how you doing?
I am good. Looking small, but that's okay. Rory is bigger than me. I'm trying, when you meet somebody like that of that size, and there's nothing wrong with that, I have to come across big. So I'm going to try and have a big voice. I'm going to I'm going to try and bring big tips, yeah, big value to make up for the lack in size.
Sounds great. Okay, I love this. I'm already laughing my butt off here. All right, so Corrine, tell everybody, who is Corrine? All right, you have to come up with an answer for this question now. Who is Corrine? What are you about, and what brings you here today?
Corrine is cute, young and sexy. Let me start off like that. Young, cute, and sexy. Let's get that straight first to begin. I live in the Caribbean. I live in the Caribbean, so I'm an islander to the core. Okay. So if you haven't been to Trinidad and Tobago, this is the time to book your ticket and come across. I'm not inviting you to stay by me. I'm just saying, just come across. All right. And
Thanks for clearing that up for everybody. Okay,
yeah, just make it
you're
clear.
not
Just make
staying
it
with
clear.
me, but come on down.
But come on down, right? I'm a communication specialist and consultant. What does that mean? I do my best to help companies and individuals and small businesses and anyone to communicate better. That means in your personal relationships as well as in work relationships. So I deal with communication strategy, a bit of crisis management. I try to avoid crisis management by doing the right things before, but there are people, once you're dealing with humans, there will always be some sort of crisis. Yeah.
Hmm.
And content creation, social media, although I don't like it, but yeah, engaging with people on social media, making sure that your reputation, I look at it more as reputation management. So because we know social media is where it's at these days, this is where everybody goes to vent, including LinkedIn, Facebook, everywhere, and basically let everybody know what's going on. So reputation management, communication strategy, imagery, making sure that not that you come across always positive. I think that's fake. I believe in authenticity. If you do something wrong, you just admit it and say how you're going to correct it. Simple as that, and take accountability for your actions. It's just really communication is really just being truthful and honest and have integrity. That's basically what it is. So I'm trying to help people to do the right thing and do the thing right. That's basically it.
Nice. I love that. Communication specialist and consultant.
Yes.
So, the as that's your title, the
Mhm.
how does that work with the podcast? Is the podcast then about what you do, or is it about communicating? Or tell us about the podcast itself and how that relates.
It is about that. Actually, my podcast, I've actually done some evaluating, reassessment, and re strategizing of my podcast lately. And I've aligned it more with what I do, which is communications. So my podcast is about decoding hidden meanings in communication. Who may that help? People in personal relationships, people in work relationships. Because once you're having human interaction, you're going to have hidden meanings in your interaction. Body language, your words, emails, there are things that people are saying to you. And we know even in female male interactions, when a woman says something, it's not the words that's coming out of her mouth. You have to take into consideration everything that's going on, a bit of history, what she's feeling, her mood, what has happened yesterday, this morning, her body language, what was the last thing she said to you or the first thing she said to you. That kind of, you have to consider all of that and put it into context. It's the same thing with work. So when I talk about decoding hidden meanings in communication, you take into consideration the whole gamut of language itself, and I call it a dance because it really is a dance. And I am a Latin dancer. I love Latin dancing. So it's that kind of yin yang, flow, kind of synchronous kind of communication, and it's interesting to understand people's interpretation of things, even in text, a simple text, which can be very confusing to people. And I really don't like texting, but people use it, on WhatsApp. And when I realize that the flow of the communication isn't as clear to me, because I like to be very crystal clear, I would pick up the phone and call, or I would say, this is unclear, let's have a conversation. So I can hear the tone of your voice, or even if it's visual, I can see your facial expression to be able to give me more clarity in really what you're saying. So it's not just the words that are coming out of someone's mouth. You have to take into consideration all the context, and most importantly, the energy that you're feeling. Follow your intuition, because while somebody may be telling you something, that's not really what is being messaged to you. You're not feeling that. It's not resonating within you. So my podcast, Between the Lines, is just as it says, read between the lines. What is that message, hidden message, that you're picking up that you need to interpret and understand?
Nice. Very nice. I love that. I think that's almost a lost art today because
It is.
we do just rely on the text. I mean, that's it. And if you're
That's
not
right.
inferring the right thing from the text,
Mhm.
you're missing the boat, really. You're missing half the conversation.
That's right. Because communication is a two-way or sometimes multi-way street.
Hmm.
The whole point of communication is to be able to respond, react. Some sort of response is needed. And so you have to, in order to respond appropriately, you have to understand what the message is being sent. And probably it's not even meant for you, but you're responding. You're
Wow.
getting into conversations that has nothing to do with you. And you have to be able to stay out of it. And it requires discipline. It requires an awareness. It requires a consciousness. People get involved in things that have nothing to do with them and then wonder, how did they get here? It's because you put yourself in places you're not supposed to be. So
Pretty definitive. I like that. All right. I mean, you just don't do that, and you're all set.
just
The
don't do it.
So you and what you do, your podcast, you're about communication. Was that what made you choose podcasting to get this message out there? Did you find that that was a better than average way of communicating?
Podcasting actually was the easiest and fastest way for me to get my voice heard. And when I say my voice, not just the sound of my voice, but my ideas, my thoughts, my beliefs, my values out there. If you go through traditional media, the radio stations, the network, you have to go through a number of hoops to be able to get accepted. You have to submit a proposal. You have to find your own sponsors because they're into making money. Podcasting, not necessarily. It could be a passion project of yours. It could be something that is a marketing strategy for your business. So you could use it for a number of ways. But once you go traditional media, you have to put in a proposal and you have to do it to a number of networks, and you have to do the research to find out if what your topic, your theme, your interest is in alignment with their strategic objectives. So it starts off very business-like, very harsh, It loses that sense of, I just want to have a conversation. I want to learn. I want to expand my mind. I want to hear what other perspectives are out there. I want to educate. I want to inform. I want to share. It takes away that. It becomes very business strict, like, and I call it a curfew. Once you're going traditional media, they're going to censor and curfew you on what you could say, how you could say it, what type of guest. Podcasting doesn't stop that. You could have anybody on, somebody who is cussing from A to Z, somebody who, you could talk sex from beginning to end. It doesn't matter, you it gives you that freedom. And when I started about 13 years ago, I started on Blog Talk Radio. I don't know if anybody remembers or knows of it, but in 1 minute, literally 1 minute, I got started and I had this wonderful studio that made me feel I was an audio engineer, all the lights and the moving things, online. And everything was online. I didn't have to physically go into studio. I didn't need to hire anybody to do anything. And the beautiful thing about Blog Talk Radio back then, I don't know if it still is the same today. They have different tiers, it's freemium, so you can start off free, and 15 minutes, I think it was 15 minutes you get for free, which is good. You don't really need more than 15. And you had guests call in. It allowed for guests to actually call in and you can interact with them. So it was the perfect thing for me to get started. So I was like, oh, forget traditional media. What the hell? Who has time for that? I should just, I am getting started online and I love everything online. Everything that's easy, that still allows me to engage with an audience, talk with them directly. And the call-in number was free. It's not going to cost them anything. So it worked for me, And now, well, we have transitioned into video podcasting. So I use StreamYard. You could use Zoom like we're using now. And, it's a number of different ways, So podcasting, I've noticed, has grown and evolved throughout those years. It has surpassed me. I was one of the early birds, when I came into podcasting. And now it's a whole industry in and of itself.
Yeah, when we were talking earlier, you mentioned that you had been doing this for 13-ish years and like over 400 episodes type of thing. You've been doing this for a minute.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it must be
just
working.
a minute, not that long. Yeah,
Yeah,
just a minute.
so clearly it's
But when
working.
I
Yeah,
started, and I think I would think so, or I am still working,
yeah.
But when I started, I was talking every topic, and this is why I said to you recently, I made some changes. And over the course of those 13 years, I made changes. I took a break for probably a couple of years, a year or two, and ever so often you have to do that. You have to take a break, just like how people take a vacation and just reassess, how is this going? Where am I going? What do I want to do? I didn't, when I started off, have a particular target audience. I didn't think of it business minded. It was more, hey, this is something I can do. I can get my voice out. I can meet people. I can have conversations. I brought the globe, the world to me, and I can help people, share what I have learned in my experience. So it didn't start off with that sort of business thing. And I still, to this day, don't necessarily have that kind of mindset. I am more about engaging with an audience, sharing what I've learned, helping others, especially with what I do in communication, because of what I observe and what I've experienced personally in work environments, too many toxic environments. People are really unhappy. Their mental health is at stake, and they feel compelled that they have to stay, whether it's in work relationships or a toxic personal relationship, and you don't have to. I've come out of those type of things, and I've decided how I would want my life to be, how I want to live my life, and you could do the same. So I want to be able to share what I've learned, help people to decipher a lot of things in terms of what their bosses are saying, or supervisors, or managers, or colleagues are saying, so that they could be prepared. Don't wait for when the axe comes down on your head, you could be prepared from before.
So that brings in a very good question. And who's your target market? Because you're working with people you just mentioned who are working for somebody else, and that's the issue. I know you also work with podcasters, but who are you
Yes.
really trying to serve?
I am serving persons who are in toxic relationships or who feel they are. I am talking to people in negotiations, so lawyers or even clients of lawyers who are trying to understand how best to negotiate and position themselves, mediators. Anybody who is dealing in a situation where they're trying to understand and basically level up, be able to be in a position, I don't really want to use the word power, but be in a position that somebody cannot take advantage of them, understand the dynamics of what they're walking into, what they're getting into. And this is everyday life. And it might seem as if I'm talking to everybody, and maybe that's the case. Because once you're dating, you are negotiating. Once you are going into a job, you are negotiating. Once you're buying a house or a car, you are negotiating. So every day we are making choices, decisions, negotiating. Life it has become more and more transactional. You're buying something, you're negotiating, and it's going also based on what you feel and what you need and being able to, I don't want to say the word demand, but that's really what it is. But say what you want and make sure you get what you want as much as possible without really stepping on anybody else's toes. So it becomes a sort of mutually agreed sort of arrangement. You can't really probably get a win-win in every situation, but all parties walk out satisfied as much as possible. And if you're not satisfied, because you have to look out for yourself, walk away from it. Don't feel that you're missing out. This whole thing about FOMO is getting to a lot of people. And but yes, fear of missing out and feel like, oh, it's the only one that exists or the only thing that exists. No, sweetie, don't be fooled. Don't make anybody fool you. That's not the case. If there's one, there are many, and or many other better things that's out there. That one thing you're holding on to is saying that you're coming from a place of lack, that you think that this is the only thing that exists, when there are so many better things to come if you just wait, because you deserve it. And so I'm talking to persons who are not in a position, who may not be as strong enough, as confident enough, and they want to be able to empower themselves, increase their self-confidence, build their self-esteem, to be able to open their mouth, walk in with their chest held high and confident to speak their truth and stand on those values.
Nice. So that's who we are talking to. Now, in the way that you are, I know you talk to them through your podcast. The are you do this through a coaching program of some kind with folks or some sort of course?
I do. I do. I have an ebook course. So for podcasting in particular, I have a ebook course that's specifically aligned for persons who want to get into podcasting, beginners, experienced, people who have taken a break like I did, relooking it, that want to probably monetize, distribution. I mean, everything concerning podcasting. It's how to build a powerful podcasting platform. If you're interested, I'm sure Rory will share the link in the show notes and the description, that you could get access to that. And for those who have an interest in learning more about communication, I also have an ebook course on that, helping you to find steps to get out of toxic relationships and to navigate. And half of the book actually is focused on personal relationships, and the other half is focused on work relationships. So if you just think that you need help with personal, then you just focus on half of the book if you want. But I think you would want the whole book, because it just helps you. So, and I do have a coaching program called Decode This, DECODE, where I offer persons the opportunity to share something that their intuition is telling them is wrong, or they're not feeling good about it. They can share it with me, and I can try to decode it for them because of my experience. I can share. I'm not saying I will always be right, because I have to understand the context, but we will look at all the possibilities it could be to help you to know what steps you could take. So it's called Decode This, and it could be a text. The first thing that comes to my mind visually is about a text, because we know texting is the thing these days. And a guy might send you a text, or your boss might send you an email, or a friend might send you some kind of thing, and you're trying to understand what really is he or she saying? Where is it leading to? Is he trying to dump me? Are they trying to fire me? You know, are they replacing me? Or, is something coming that I need to prepare for? And so, yeah, decode this is the way to go.
I see. I see. All right. All right. Now, when you and I were talking in the pre-interview, you were talking about helping podcasters. When I asked you, how long you've been doing this, and how many episodes you had out, you shared with me a couple of opinions, and I said, hey, I'm going to ask you about this on the air, and you said, all right, if you ask me, I'll answer you. So
Yeah.
I wonder if you would mind sharing those opinions with our fellow podcasters, because honestly, I could not agree more with the opinions you had, and I love it when they get to hear about it from somebody besides just me.
Oh, you want company, I see.
Well, yeah.
Okay, okay. So, well, here's the thing. When we were talking off air, and I hope I remember everything. When we were talking off air, I was saying to you that my focus, like I mentioned earlier too, is about engagement, is about connection. Eventually, probably I would get to the point of taking my podcast to probably a level where I might monetize it in that way. But I think it takes away from that engagement for me. So people will ask me how many followers you have, how many subscribers. If somebody's coming as a guest on my show between the lines, they will ask me that. And they automatically disqualify themselves. And I'm saying this publicly. They might not know this, but I'm saying it publicly. Yeah. Yeah, because that communicates to me a sort of aloofness that you consider of yourself. I've had persons even say to me, you should be paying me to be on your show. I'm like, no problem, block. you know yeah, that's okay, good to hear, block.
No
you
problem.
know
Block. All right.
block.
That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah, no problem. You think that of yourself. I have no problem with that. You love yourself that much. I am happy for you. Yeah, so you could find somebody who you could tell that to. So anybody who asks me about how many subscribers and followers, I'm like, you're not the right fit. Um, because there are people who will boast. They have how many 100 million subscribers, how many million thousand um, followers, but how many people know you? How many people do you know? How many people do you engage with? You know, um, we have to be real. This doesn't convert into anything. It doesn't convert into anything. And I'm not telling others to follow my principle and values, but for me, it's about engaging and connecting, having that human connection. And like I was saying to Rory, I would love for somebody, when they show up in front of God to tell him, hey, God, I have 100 million subscribers. Let me in. I, I really, could somebody just do that and come back and tell me if it worked for you? You tell God you have 100 million subscribers, let you in. Peter at the gate, because you might have to go through Peter first. You tell Peter you have 100 million subscribers. Instagram, LinkedIn. You tell him that, and come back and tell me if it worked for you. If it worked for you, I might try it.
You covered all of it. You covered the whole thing. The
Yeah,
God comment just put me over the top. I was like, you've
yeah.
got to share this on the episode. And you and I have never met before. We've never had this discussion before, right?
No, first
No,
time,
no. And
first
so
time.
they've heard this from me a couple of times.
Oh, they have. Oh, they
Oh
have.
yes,
Oh, good.
yeah.
So I'm
Not
not alone.
not at all. Matter of fact, I've gone to the point of saying, y- you're coming on my show. I
Mm-hmm.
am no, even if I only have one
Mm-hmm.
person watch it, right? I'm still providing you with the credibility of being interviewed. I'm providing you with a link to the episode and a piece of marketing for your business for free that
Hello.
you'd have to pay for anywhere else to get that kind of marketing. And
Hello. It
there you go.
is it is crazy, the entitlement, and I'm noticing more and more these days, Rory. There is an entitlement that is happening within people. You're entitled, you're obligated. I'm like, where was that? When, when did that happen? Please tell me.
Mhm.
Because I don't know of that.
Yeah.
It's like you owe them something. This is crazy. And what they don't realize is that they're expecting us as podcasters to take them from level 1 to level 100x.
Hmm.
And they don't realize that the onus is on them. When I guest on a podcast, like I'm doing here with you, it is my responsibility after I get a recording or the links or whatever, we share or we work out an arrangement for me to promote that, for me to tag you. It's a partnership. It's not a one-sided thing. And I come back again to relationships and communication. This is what communication, the basic of human. It is not one. It is one to many, many to one, many to many. We have to work together. So you're expecting for me to come on as a guest, and I'm like, Rory, you make sure I look good. You make sure that at the end of the day, hello, I need 5 clients by the end of today, Rory. I need at least 5 clients.
I'm
And
working on it. There you go.
my books must be so, okay? Because then this was a waste of my time. Free or not free, that is the kind of entitlement. It is the onus is on board. And even if the podcaster, the host, doesn't do anything, so what? You must take it upon yourself as the guest because this is for you. And don't think that, okay, you're the guest and the host isn't doing anything, you're not going to tag him or her. No, show up as the right person, do the right thing and do the thing right. Show up and do the right thing, people. Ask Rory or whoever the host is, hey, can I get the links? Can I get a recording? Create clips, do audiograms, write some articles, schedule it out over whatever period you want to do some quotes, and put it out there. It's for you. It's for you. And still tag the host. Stop waiting for the host to do everything for you and blaming him or her for the lack of results that you don't get. Not even thinking that probably, Rory, you're not interesting enough as a guest, that nobody really wants to hear you. Huh? You're blaming everything on Rory. You're not even thinking, I am so boring, nobody really wants to hear my message. Or there's no demand for what I'm talking about. Or maybe the timing is not right now. People are talking about other things right now. They're not talking about what I'm talking about. It could be a number of things, but you're blaming Rory because Rory is in front of you right now with his cup of coffee.
Always. Oh my goodness.
Why? Why don't we take Rory? Rory's laughing, people. Why don't we take accountability for our own actions and the results we want to get? It is so easy to say, Rory, I was on your show. You make me spend half of my day. They have to exaggerate. Don't forget, they have to exaggerate. You make me spend half of the day with you. And not one of my books sold, not 10 clients. No, no, Rory, no. That's what they do. That's what they do. No, no, no. If you're getting into this thing called podcasting, let me tell you, that's what you're going to be facing. You're going to be facing guests who have expectations. Okay? Guests who have entitlements. And these are some of the things you have to deal with. You're going to face guests that don't show up. You're going to face guests that you follow up with, they book a time, and you don't hear from them. Or you tell them, please submit your photo, your bio, those different things, their social links and stuff, their call to actions, whatever they want to share. And they don't do it. And they don't do it in time because there's a time factor. We have to prepare as a podcast host for a very good show. And we need time to be able to do that. We have to prepare, And so when you don't deliver and submit the things in time for us to create the graphics, the cover art for the episode or whatever it is that different hosts do, it holds us back. So no, I don't hesitate. You don't submit your things in time, canceled. My time is also precious. Rory, isn't your time precious?
100%. Absolutely.
Free or not, and worse, free. We're not charging you.
Right. Exactly.
Boss.
I love it. I
Rory could have
absolutely love
been
it.
doing something else at this time. He could have been doing something else if I didn't show. When I don't show, it's a disrespect of somebody's time and a disrespect to the individual. Don't do it. If you can't show, make sure you let the person know within reasonable time. And I'm not saying a minute before. If you could do it a day before, I know things happen, life happens. But you reach out and say something. You know, and it happens in the reverse too. Don't get me wrong. I booked to be a guest on a podcast, show up waiting, and the host was asleep, fell asleep, and did not show, did not show.
Oh my
But
goodness.
yes, and he was like, "Oh, I fell asleep," and had the audacity to tell me that he fell asleep. But okay, let's go the route of honesty. He was honest. And what did I do? I canceled and he tried to get me back on. But why should I get back on a podcast where the host fell asleep? Might he not fall asleep on the second or third time? So no, I'm not allowing that. No, I'm not allowing that. No, so I'm not giving you a second chance because I was totally prepared, set up my area, everything, and was waiting only to realize where the hell are you? And you are sleeping? No, 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 no. That's like a date. Me and Rory go out on a date. Are we supposed to? And Rory don't show us. Clearly not a second date, Rory. Clearly.
Right. Oh, I love it. I love every minute of it.
Right?
You're so right about
Yeah,
all of it.
yeah. And if you want to relate to work, you have an interview, they tell you, okay, your interview is at 1:30 p.m. They even tell you make sure you're there on time, come half an hour before if you have any paper or things to fill out. And you're there long before time, you're there, you're dressed because you're nervous, you want to stay calm, everything. And they have you waiting for 3 hours. No, the company, are on my blacklist. No, no, you disrespect me and you disrespect my time.
100%.
You see,
I
and
love it.
people need to stand up for things. You see, we have to stop giving out desperation energy that we feel.
Desperation.
Yeah, desperation
Oh my God.
energy. Oh my God. Would I ever meet Rory again to go out on a date? He's the only guy that smiled at me. Yes, you will. Would I get another job? This is the first job interview I've had in so much years. Yes, you will. Right? Would I ever be a guest on a podcast or whatever? Yes, you will. So stop with the desperation, please. Ugh, stop.
I mean, it's a shame that you're not passionate about any of these ideas, and
It's a shame.
it's really a
It's
shame.
a shame. Mhm.
You love this. Absolutely love it. And honestly, it's great advice that you're giving out because you're talking very commonsensical, but so many people do it's funny because every time you brought something up, I'm like, yep, and yep, and yep,
That's
yep.
what we. And listen, it happened. We're human. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen to me, but you have to catch yourself,
Yeah,
as quickly as possible. Why am I? No, pull back, pull back, pull back. It happens. But it's with take advantage of your manipulate you because you're no. When I told the host, I said, um, the one that fell asleep on me, and I was waiting, and I'm like, no, I'm not coming back on your show. I wasn't argumentative. I wasn't mad. I was like, when he offered for me to come back on again, I was like, no thanks, you know, and I also let well, we are on match to get Rory and I. And I let the owners know. I said, listen, this is what happened with this particular host, because I really don't want anybody else to go through the same thing, as a guest. So it's up to Podmatch to decide how they want to deal with it, but I communicated, you know.
yeah,
So it's something that we need to hold true to ourselves. We need to decide what our values are, what we're standing on, and don't shift on it, whether it's on one side of the fence, you're a guest, or whether you're a host. personal, professional relationships, interactions, negotiations, stand on what you believe.
Great principle to live by. I love it. I love it. As long as we're, talking about things that you're very passionate about, let me throw in my little corny question now, because this is like my, every single episode I got to make sure I get this one in. Um, as you think about doing your podcast itself, okay, what is it
Mhm,
about doing the
mhm,
podcast that you love the most, and what is it about
mhm.
doing the podcast that you just dislike the most?
Let me think. What I love the most is just, like I said, I'm consistent, engaging with the guest. What I dislike the most, and it's something that I am fixing or putting in place, and I hope I could come back to that, is in the guests come on and you have to get them back in the conversation. They're going off course. And our role as a host facility be able to keep them not necessarily in line, but you have a title for your episode, you have a theme, you have a topic, you have a focus, and you know that you want your audience to get this particular message or tips. So you have to try and get the guest to follow that course. And there's sometimes guests go off, as they say, the reservation on their own agenda. And yeah, yeah. And I understand.
No.
They come, they're authors, because I used to interview a lot of authors and they want to get their book out. And they feel like by talking so much about their book and coming back every minute about their book is going to do it. No. You could mention your book as many times as you want. Nobody's necessarily going to buy. You see, these are the real things people need to hear. But if you talk with a level of, let's say, confidence, or use the word loosely, expertise about your experience, and people connect with you, people can see that this person has gone through some real crap, or they understand this, they would more than likely want to check out your website or follow you or get to know you more. You know, I'll also give an example. When I'm on LinkedIn, gosh, I see so many people promoting, putting pictures of themselves, the whole selfie thing, and the selfie is not even connected to the post. And they're talking so much about themselves. So it's all about stroking their egos. And they might make a post, they might say something. If it's something that I feel I want to comment on, I may comment. And my comment, just from commenting, and when I look at other people's comment after, I realize they're also enabling the stroking of the egos. So they're adding to the feeding that monster, let's call it that. And I come in and I say what I have to say. I'm not stroking anybody's ego. I come in and I give my opinion. And right after that, you will see how many people reaching out to me. Corine, I love your comment. They want to connect. Connect, 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 connect. I am not one to want to connect with everybody. I did not promote any that cause people to think, which is simply what we are doing here now, cause people to think, or consider an alternative way of thinking of something. It's like, wow, I never thought about it that way. She made a good point, or yeah, it make them think, and consider the way they're doing things. And so they would clearly go and click on my profile and want to get to know me and understand who is this and want to connect. Some I connect with, some I don't, because I'm not really looking for friends, you know. And again, I'm not really looking to build followers or subscribers. If I'm connecting with somebody, it must be somebody that I would more than likely reach out to or say hi, or, um, congratulate them on things in little ways, I will engage with them over time. But like I said, I want to come back to a way that I have kind of nipped that in the bud of having persons on my show who going off the rails. So my booking form is very meticulous. very meticulous. And I'm in communications and I think I'm doing it well. So in my booking form, I ask specific questions. And I was very clear. I even give an example of how I would like the guest to respond. I give an actual example. It is there. But what do people do? They skip through all of that. They don't read. They don't read. And I even say to them, please follow the instructions. Please follow the instructions to increase your chances of being a guest on Between the Lines. So clearly, they haven't seen any of that. And so as I look at their submission, I cancel it. And I have canceled about 5 or 6 people back to back who have requested to be on my show. And some people might say that's cruel. Corine, why don't you work with them? I don't have time to waste. I am in communications and I want persons who clearly takes the time to go through and make sure that they could follow. If they cannot follow that instruction, I'm going to have a hard time with them on the show. You see, these are the things you call red flags, and people call it green moving to red. We see the things and we still allow it. And I'm talking passionately about this, Rory, because at one point in my life, I used to accommodate things. I used to say, I'll work with the person, I'll this, I'll that, or it takes up my time. And it doesn't end up in the place where I would like it to go. So why waste the time? And I'm not saying the people are not good. It's not a reflection on them. It's just, this is it. And I will even go further into this topic. When you are an author, which I am, and when you are putting forward, pitching your manuscript to a publisher, they don't play. They don't play. You have to follow their instructions specifically unto the T. If they say 210 words, you don't give them 211. They don't have time to waste. And I'm a publisher and I publish people's books, help them to self-publish. So if you could follow those instructions when it comes to getting your book published, or if you get a contract with a major agency and they tell you this is specifically what you have to achieve, why is it that you see us as podcast hosts and don't want to follow the same strict guidelines? Why? Why are you doing it for some and you see us as not so much as a publisher, which we really are? We are publishers. We are publishers. We are publishing the written word, the transcript. We are publishing the audio. We are publishing the video. We are publishers. Okay, we are publishers of content. It's the same thing an author or a publishing agency does, but they just deal with books. But we are publishers the same. And the same guidelines, submission guidelines that a publishing agency has, the HarperCollins and the who and who, whatever agencies, we have the same. So I believe that we have this, we deserve the same respect. So if I put a form that asks for specific requirements, and this is of course a PSA to all the people who are wanting to be on my show.
Oh yeah.
You make sure, please, that you read, because if the basic communication, reading, you're not even doing that, then why are you coming on my communication podcast? Okay, it's respect. It's respect. The guidelines are the same, because you cannot do it with a publishing agency. They tell you this is how they want it, Times New Roman, this font, this size, this spacing. They tell you. And if you do anything other than that, they're not coming back to say, oh, Rory, we like you. They're not even looking at your work to say, well, the first line in it. No. Rejected immediately, because they're getting so many people submitting to them. They don't have time. They don't have time. And somebody might say, but you don't get so many people coming to you like a publisher. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's my time. The time I take to spend with you, the time I take to prepare for the show, the time I take to promote the show, the time I take to edit the show. My these are the, these are the considerations that need to people need to understand when you're getting into the podcast. Frozen, Rory, you froze up on me, or is it me that's
Uh,
frozen? Tell me.
yeah, it's okay. I lost you for just a minute, but I think you're back. Are you back? Hey, this happens during live shows. This is
You
what
lost
happens.
me for
I think you're coming back. Hang on a
just
second.
a bit.
Hmm. Just having a rough connection right this second. That's all. Trying to get this working.
You're still
We're almost back. Hang with us, folks. This is
frozen.
the type of thing that happens every once
Mhm.
in a while on a podcast. So let's just see if we can bring. Yeah, Corine, are you back with me? Not just yet.
I hope so. I hope so.
Almost there. Stay with us, folks. We're almost there.
I saw a bit of movement from you.
Yeah, and you're just starting to move again. I'm telling my folks while we're doing this,
That's
hey,
all
this
right.
this is why we don't edit, because it's these things happen in real life. These things happen when you're trying to do a live video. I think we almost have you back.
It's technology for you.
Exactly. All right. And you only froze for a minute. I think you're just about back now. Let me try one more thing
Yeah.
here. See if I can loop
Mhm.
around it.
Let me see if I can do some things on my end as well. Stuff. Um,
Little things, right? We're almost there. All right.
I am so sorry about that.
Oh, don't worry about it. It could be either one of us. It could just be something happening in the middle. We have no
Yeah,
idea. But can you hear me okay?
I am hearing you better now.
Okay. I think we're just about back. But all right. The picture's moving slow, but the I think the voice is working.
The audio is okay.
All right.
Hmm.
So I think we're just about okay. I heard most of what you were saying. You only froze for a minute, and then you and I both realized we were frozen.
Yeah, yeah. We could act in the movie Frozen. We would do very well with that.
Yes, we would. All right. I think we're back to functional here. So
Yeah.
I loved what you were saying. I'm not sure if you know where you left off, but you were making fantastic points. You really were. You were on a roll.
Thank you.
So
Thank you. Yeah. I don't know if I could repeat it, but generally I think what I was saying is, just have the respect for podcast host and podcasting industry and don't think that, you're above it all, that, as a guest and feel and that you should tell a host, you should be paying me to come on this, to come on your show. I am a this, that, and what. And a world-class speaker, award-winning this, and did I respond? No. I'm not going into, I don't banter with those things. If that is what you feel, hey, good for you. It doesn't change the fact coming. They may say, hey, your show is this, and I go down the road. Your show is nothing compared to so and so. So then why did you apply to come on on my side. I don't know. I hope you heard what I just said. You're
Yep,
frozen.
just about all of it, and you just froze physically. I heard almost the whole thing. Can you hear me okay?
I am so
Oh, it's perfectly fine. This is, folks, this is part of what happens. So when you're podcasting, these are things that you have to worry about. Is your internet not working on one side or the other? This is just, part of the deal. So what we'll do is if we can get Corrine to maybe
good,
leave
but
and come
I figured
back.
it's yeah,
Yeah, Corrine, can you hear me enough?
yeah.
Yeah, would you mind trying to
I
leave the
am
meeting and
hearing
come
you.
back in?
You want me to do that? Leave
Yeah,
and come back in?
leave and come back in. I'm going to keep the recording going. The heck with this. This is
All right,
awesome.
let me try that.
Teaching people how to handle this. So,
Let me try that.
all right, go for it. I'll keep everything going. You should be able to find me. All right, so we're back and it's just us. We are still recording. And yep, there we go. And so we'll let Corrine come back in. So she's a long way away. So maybe Zoom's just not quite up to it. I don't know. Maybe it's the internet. But we'll see if we can get this going again, folks. She's dropping some serious truth bombs on everybody. I hope you guys are paying attention and really getting something from everything that Corrine is saying. She's just being very open and honest, about podcasting as a whole. One of the things that I know she was talking about was, just having some common courtesy for each other as podcasters. And I know that in our world, that's not always the easiest thing not always the easiest thing to keep in mind. We all kind of worry about our own show. We worry about everything that we're worried about. We don't always, think about how are our actions impacting everybody else. So I love the fact that she's talking about, I can't believe someone actually told her that they fell asleep on her. But I mean, in my world, at least make up a better excuse. I will tell you, if anybody's listening to this and you invite me to come on your podcast and you fall asleep, okay, and you don't show up as the host, do me a favor and at least have the courtesy to come up with I don't know, a better a better excuse. Tell me that some rabid dog came in and wrecked your studio. Give me a little bit of creativity, will you? And we'll figure things out one way or the other. So I don't see Corrine coming back in. Um, I hope that we do get her back because she was absolutely wonderful. Just throwing things out there. We had a great episode going, and goodness gracious. But I just don't see her coming back in. So I don't know if we're going to be able to keep this one or not. I'm going to try. We'll see what we can do. Because she said so many awesome things today, guys. And she just left it out there. Let me see what we can do here. All right, we're back. Here we go, folks. We have Corrine back with us. All right. Now, apparently the powers that be do not want you putting out this message.
And
Because
I tell you, but it's not stopping us. Not today.
it's not stopping us. We're still going. She restarted her computer. We got everything back up and running, folks. This is just awesome. This is how you plow through and you just persevere. So, um, we heard almost all of what you were saying. We both kind of figured out when we were frozen. So I don't think we really lost anything there. But let's do this. You're giving out great advice for podcasters. I usually sort of wrap the interview with, hey, what sort of advice do you have for podcasters? You've given a ton, so let me do this. I want to give you the floor for a couple of minutes, okay? And I'm going to let you kind of whatever you want to leave behind with the audience, parting thoughts, anything, because I know we got a little jumbled in there, but you are just spitting fire today. Okay, my friend, and I love what you're saying, and I want to make sure we get as much of that out to everybody. So I'm going to stop talking, and the floor is yours for the last few minutes. What do you want to say to everybody on the way out today?
Oh my goodness, you should not have given me the floor. But here's what. Here's what. Today is what today is. Today is the 16th of May.
16th of May. Yep.
It's a good day to be alive. It's a good day to be alive. I live in a sense of gratitude. It's a good day to be alive. It doesn't matter what is happening to you today. I don't know what is making me decide to do these things. I go according to my spirit, people. But I know that when this episode drops, somebody that will be listening to it at that particular point in time will need to hear what I'm saying right now. It's a great day to be alive. And whatever that you're doing at this very moment that you're listening to me, it's okay. Whatever you're going through, it's okay. You're going to make it. You're going to make it. And let me tell you, you're not going to just make it. You're going to make it big time. I'm not saying this to stroke your ego. I'm not saying this to make you feel good about yourself, though you should, but you're going to make it. You're alive for a reason. When I learned some years ago, everyone that's born, there's so many sperms. I don't know how many. Rory could tell us. But there's so many sperms. They're fighting for one egg, people, just one. Okay? And you are here above ground. You are that one. Not many make it. So you're here for a purpose. And if your purpose is to start a podcast or revive your podcast or to be a guest on a podcast or whatever fear that's holding you back, you are not supposed to have that fear. Yes, you're human. So acknowledge it, hear it, feel it in your body, talk to it. I grew up, as they say here in the Caribbean, the old people say you mustn't talk and answer yourself. But I'm going to tell you this today. Talk and answer back. Talk and answer back. Talk and answer back yourself. Have that conversation with yourself and hear yourself say the words. And you will realize that you are actually holding yourself back. There's nobody. You can't blame me, Corine. You can't blame Rory. You can't blame anybody. It's really you holding yourself back. And so I want whoever is listening to this, know that you can make it. You will make it. You have everything that you need within you to make it. And there's nothing stopping you. And don't think that you have to do it perfectly, because this is what happens with a lot of people going to start anything, a business, leave their job, have children, get married, whatever it is they want to do, migrate. I've migrated, and I've done it, survived it, lived abroad for 21 years, back home to Trinidad. And I could do it again if I want to in a heartbeat, So you have to get over that fear of starting anything that you want to start, because there's no fear. Just make that step. And if you think about all the things in the past that you have overcome, it's because you made that step out of fear. You crossed over that line in the sand. You took a chance on yourself, bet on you. We bet on so many other people. If you really listen to yourself, you encourage your friend, you encourage your spouse, you encourage your children. Why don't you take out just an ounce of that and put it into you? Just an ounce, not a whole lot, Could you imagine if you put the whole thing into you? It's not selfish, and you should be selfish. I promote being selfish, pouring back into you, because we grew up with selfish being a negative term. It is not. Selfish is about being self-care, is loving on yourself, because you cannot pour out of an empty cup. And I'm sure you have heard that. You have to be filled and overflowing. I see people mentioning about the glass half full. I am never half of anything. I am overflowing. I am never half of anything. People say, I'm looking for my other half. Why? Are you incomplete? Wait, what other half? But why you need somebody to complete you? You're already complete. Stop it, stop it, stop it. I am never half of anything. I am overflowing, right? And it's in the Bible, your cup overflows, right? So stop saying that you see things as a glass half full, or if you're the negative type, half it. No, you're overflowing. You have so much that you can give, and probably this is why Rory is saying, Corinne, you have given so much. I've gone so much and beyond, because there's so much to give, and it doesn't empty me. It doesn't make me feel drained. And you feel it. You feel it when you when you are around the wrong type of people or in the wrong environment, and you just feel drained. You go home drained, you're tired, mentally fatigued, annoyed. You just drained. But something like this, like when I come to a podcast, I'm not drained. I'm actually energized. I'm actually pumped up. It's like a drug for me. I'm actually pumped up to be able to give like this. I'm not drained at all. And why is that? My cup, my being is never half of anything. I give from the excess, so I always have. So the person listening to this at this moment, right now, whenever you get to hear this, know that your cup overflows. There's nothing stopping you from doing what you want to do. If it's a podcast, great. Reach out to Rolly, reach out to me, or whoever you feel comfortable with. It doesn't matter. Just get started and get started raw. Laugh at yourself. Make the mistakes because they are not mistakes. They are lessons so that you could get better. It took me 13 years and I'm still learning. There are people who came into podcasting after me and they're doing exceptionally well and I'm happy for them. But their path was different to mine. Their path was different to mine. And we must stop comparing ourselves to people. If somebody come in after you, you're like, but wait a minute, she doesn't have what I have. Stop, stop, stop. Every human being on this earth has a different journey. Things happen for different people at different times. When it's supposed to happen for you, it will. If it's not supposed to happen for you, it won't. Let that thing go. And stop looking at the person next door. Stop looking at everybody else. Just look at you and be thankful for what you have. Just look at you and be thankful for what you have. Because life without gratitude is an empty cup. Life without gratitude is an empty cup. So to who is listening to this, know you can do it. Know you have all the gifts in the world to do what you're doing, and everything is going to be okay.
See, I just knew that giving you the floor for the last couple minutes was the right move. I know it. I could not have said it better than that. Um,
Thank
you have been an absolute delight today. Absolutely. I love everything you brought to the show. Thank you so much. And I've had a blast, even with our little difficulty with the internet. What a great episode.
That's not difficulty.
You're amazing.
That's added value.
That's, there you go. There you go. How to
Added
deal with
value.
something like that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because somebody listening to us might say, gosh, I need to take a break. Let me take a little water break. And they take the break just at the time.
Perfect. Perfect. All right, folks. Wow. The host of of the Between the Lines podcast, Corine La Font. Corine, thank you so much for being on today, for sharing the way you have, and just giving of yourself to everybody the way you did. It was absolutely amazing. And I can't thank you enough. Oh, and then she froze right at the end.
Me, it's me.
Oh, you're back. There we go. She's back. Okay.
Yeah,
So
we're back.
thank you. I
Yeah, we're
appreciate
back.
you. All right. Folks,
I appreciate you. Thank you so
thank you.
much.
Thank you. This has been another crazy episode of the Podcaster Nation. This is how it
Crazy is
goes.
it?
Love it, love it,
Crazy is
love it.
it?
Folks, this is the podcast that's about podcasters. It's for podcasters. It's done by podcasters. And this really is the place where the rising tide raises all ships. So keep sailing.